It just isn't stopping, guys. Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel because we've got some more breaking news here. It seems like WWE may have spoiled a big return for the Royal Rumble and hinted at an even bigger one. We're going to talk about that in just a moment.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
All right, so welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. You might have seen that I wasn't audible just then. Sorry about that. It's the nature of going live so quickly. But what I was basically trying to say is WWE seemed to have spoiled a big return for the Royal Rumble and also hinted at maybe an even bigger one. Barry's here saying no straight away. Cody must win is the next comment there from Barry. Thank you very much for joining us, Barry. It looks like Cody Rhodes has been, I guess, spoiled as an entrant in the Royal Rumble already. And I know they've been toying around with promos and things like that. Obviously, that kind of clip show they did at the end of the year as well featured Cody and stuff like that. So it seems like it was coming, and I was a bit worried about this because personally, I really wanted Cody to come back as a surprise. You know, the one benefit we get out of injuries in wrestling is that the surprise return is incredible usually. And with someone like Cody, someone who already had a surprise return last year, I was really looking forward to having another one. Now, what gives us the idea, guys, that Cody might be at the Rumble? Oh, it's just this little thing here, which is, of course, a beautiful poster. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a lovely poster. And last night, of course, because we did go live straight away talking about the Vince McMahon news. So if you want to hear us talking about that, then check that out. Myself and Rob were talking about that yesterday. We had more breaking news yesterday with the Money in the Bank being announced for London. But again, we're not talking about that now. We are talking about, of course, Cody Rhodes and The Rock potentially being spoiled for Royal Rumble. Now, again, I go back to the poster here. It's a fantastic poster. Now, late last night, as I said, I was making the graphics. I thought, you know what? It's gone midnight. I've been streaming already. I might as well carry on doing some work. So I started making the graphic for our predictions podcast, which, of course, I hope you subscribe to the channel and check that out when we do start talking about Royal Rumble in depth. And I started kind of making that because I saw the poster yesterday, a different version of this poster floating around. And, of course, everybody was picking up that did see it, because it didn't go that far, to be fair, was picking up the electrifying hint that we've got going on here as well. A few comments quickly. Barry says the worst thing's The Rock winning the Rumble. We'll get into that in a moment, Barry. John B. 1702 says the fact that Cody's advertised tells me he isn't winning. Kind of possibly. And the poster is being advertised as electrifying. Rock winning. I don't know if it means Rock wins. Again, we'll get into that, but it does look like it means Rock's coming back. So again, the original version of the poster that I saw yesterday had the Rocks. Well, it didn't have the Rocks electrifying things. It has electricity, and of course, the most electrifying man in all of entertainment, as he said, since he came back. Previously, of course, that phrase was just a sports entertainment, but this man has branched out. It does hint towards the Rock. Now, people know this. Now, they've done this before. You know, they've done kind of themes in their advertising that doesn't really get used on the show so much, or it doesn't refer to anyone in particular or anything like that. It's happened a few times, but they know what this looks like, surely, you know. So it's they'll be shooting themselves in the foot if it doesn't happen. And of course, there's all the rumors about Roman Reigns, and there's a ready-made storyline. We've gone over it for years on the Rebellious Noise channel, and of course on this version of the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel as well. So anyway, now I was making up this graphic thinking, this would be a fun one to use, you know, and kind of, we tend to try and use some of the promo material and kind of make it our own and stuff like that for our predictions and build-up shows and stuff like that. So I was doing that last night, and that was it. Went to bed, woke up, and then a newer version comes out. So I thought that was going to be a topic already, you know, The Rock. The newer version comes out, and Cody Rhodes is slap bang right in the middle of it. Yeah, really shocking that they've done that. Now, you could say that, now don't get me wrong, Cody Rhodes was on the poster. Well, Cody Rhodes was on the ad for Money in the Bank, obviously, last year. He was injured. And we do see months out, they make these posters, they go live, and then by the time it happens, the person's front and center, like maybe sometimes the only person on it, they're in like a third tier match. Or they're not even like, I think back to Money in the Bank 2011, was it? 20, whichever one it was, Summer of Punk. You know, the image was a bedtime story of Hornswoggle on the Big Show. Of course, the show ended up being a bit bigger than a little kind of gimmicky photo like that. You know, it was all about CM Punk, but they didn't know that. They made these things months ahead of time, is what I'm saying. So, yes, you could say for that reason, wow, this was just made a long time ago. I don't think they make them that far back. And if they do, this has come out on purpose. And now this has come out, the one that came out the other day, it was on the net. Basically, they're advertised on the network, the electrifying thing, but it didn't have Cody. Now, this version with Cody has come out advertised by BT Sport. It's in a tweet from BT Sport. Now, BT Sport aren't run, you know, the WWE BT Sport account isn't run directly by the WWE. And there have been times over the years where they've hinted to things and more of a kind of wink, wink behind the scenes thing, not the company line. You know, they've said things that, again, hinted to things like they know that fans are going to jump on board. And that's exactly what they've done here. So this, I'm not saying this not with WWE's consent. You know, maybe they would be annoyed. I'm not quite sure. But at the same time, they don't do things straight up with WWE's kind of, I guess, approval. I don't know. It's hard to tell because they say things. They've hinted to things that are non-WWE before, or returns and stuff like that, which are clearly behind the scenes talks, and maybe they weren't too privy to, but they kind of jumping into kind of speculation. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to try and bring up the tweet here so we can to see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, let's get that up. So here's the tweet. Here's the graphic from BT Sports. Not only did they straight up put the picture of Cody there, but they say the official Royal Rumble poster is electrifying. They're playing up to it, guys. They're playing up to the Rock hint there. They know exactly what they're doing with that. A few more comments here we'll get into. My logic is if Cody was your winner, he would be the big surprise entrant. They must have something else planned. That's a good point. I'm just gutted he's not a surprise, John. I really am. I mean, I say a surprise. We would have probably guessed, but still, everything is weird with Cody. The fact that he's saying he's done with Seth and even getting asked about it further just adds he's going to end up facing Seth again. Yeah, look, as much as I enjoyed those matches, it ran its course. I'm done with that now, and I want him to be going on to the main title. Barry says, I hope CM Punk returns before The Rock. I don't see much time for that, mate. And even if it was at the Rumble, that seems very unlikely at the moment. But as I said to you, Barry, the other day when you sent us your messages, I think it was in the Money in the Bank conversation we were having. Hey, anything's possible. It's been a strange time to be a wrestling fan. I mean, my goodness, like I said yesterday, we went live to talk about the Money in the Bank coming to London. A huge story, not for just for Londoners, but for the pro wrestling world, you know, the fan base globally. And then on top of that, we went live to talk about the Vince news, you know, that him kind of forcing his way back in his company and what that could mean for TV rights or possibly selling the company. And now we've got the possibility of The Rock returning. I mean, what is going on in the world of pro wrestling? That's not even to mention Mercedes money and stuff like that as well. John, again, with a comment, I want Rock versus Reigns, but they should have split the belts and had Cody on the other night and versus someone else. Yeah, there's a lot of rumors about that, isn't there? You know, like Roman possibly losing the belt to one person on one night, like Cody on one night and Rock on the next. I mean, we've said it for months on this channel, man. Like, they've put themselves into a corner. It's not been great. But anyway, they've got to deal with it now. And I got to say, you know, the past few months creatively, I think have been a step in the right direction. Who knows what's going to happen now with all the news that broke last night. But again, if you want to hear thoughts on that, please check out our other streams once you're done with this one. But yeah, just generally speaking, I can't deny the fact that I'm disappointed to see Cody on the poster just because it ruins the surprise. And again, it seems like they were already leading towards that, guys. You know, they were, again, mentioning him more recently. They did these little promo videos, as you said there, mate, about, you know, him being asked about Seth Rollins. So it's a real disappointment in my opinion. it just takes away that fun. And again, you could argue that this was put out there months ago. This would have been made a long time ago. And a few things that back that up. Number one, Asuka is got the face paint, which she hasn't had recently. And also, even that Becky Lynch render, people have been saying online, you can tell that's quite a few months old as well. So look, I get that they're using old renders. So this was probably made a while ago. But then again, look at Seth. That's a much more recent addition. So maybe the bulk of the poster had been done a while ago. And then they'd kind of updated it with Seth's recent look at least a month ago, but didn't do Asuka's, who changed the look about 2 weeks ago. There's that. One complaint I will say as well about the actual design of the poster, I never really get a chance to do this kind of thing, so I'm going to do it now, is the over-the-top airbrushing. My goodness, it looks good down the bottom on Reigns and Becky. Look at Kevin Owens. That looks weird. But other than that, I think creatively speaking, it's a fantastic poster. It looks really, really cool. The blue, the lightning bolts, all the guys on it. I love a Royal Rumble poster anyway, so it was an exciting one to see how they kind of display the wrestlers. Of course, one of the famous ones, the cartoon-looking one, where they're coming down the street years ago that they did in the early 90s and did again in the early 2000s with the updated roster. But yeah, I love a good Rumble poster. Again, I love this poster. I'm disappointed that I hate returns that aren't surprises. Like, I understand that sometimes you do it to get a rating, or sometimes you do it to get a buy rate back in the day, but like, there's enough hype around the Rumble. Like, and if you're gonna pull the trigger and fulfill on that return anyway, the only risk is if you hint something like the Rock one maybe, and that person doesn't come back. Is that what we're doing here? Cody's on the poster straight up say he's coming back either way and nothing to worry about. Check out the event. But then at the same time, if you know you're going to book that, you're comfortable in selling the Rumble, and at least if you don't deliver on the Rock, you've delivered on Cody. So if Cody is a known entrant and the Rock doesn't come out, but again, this is hinting towards who he is, then that's a damaging thing for me as well. John says, even if the Rock isn't the Rumble winner, I'm not buying into this nonsense that the crowd could not be happy. The crowd would pop crazy if he came out. Only internet would be mad. Yeah, I don't care. Like, the Rock doesn't need to win. The Rock doesn't need to be in the Rumble. It adds to the excitement and the buzzer and stuff. But it could be like when Ronda Rousey showed up, where she came out at the end, where someone lifts up the belt and then the Rock's music hits. But then I guess not the belt. They won't be champ, will they? Hopefully not. They don't do that annoying thing again where the winner enters the Rumble, which again could be Roman Reigns, and that's where you could do it. But I'll prefer to see the Rock just come back and say he's going after Reigns separate to the Rumble, because it doesn't need to win the Rumble. I mean, it adds to the excitement, don't get me wrong, but someone else could win the Rumble, and that could be a different storyline. Like the Rumble, it's the same as last year, whenever it was when Edge won. In my opinion, Edge didn't need to win the Rumble. He had his Rumble moment the year before. Again, we've talked about this before, but he didn't need to win the Rumble. It was a disappointing thing for me. I think someone else could have got that spot, and then the other title match could have been the Rumble title match. And I think the same here. I think I would prefer if Cody come back and won the Rumble, because in storyline it doesn't make sense. Cody has said he wants to be the WWE champ, but he hasn't, I guess, earned it. By now maybe he would have been built it up. He's not exactly number one contender, is he? He ain't like, hey, look, he's not Charlotte. You can't just show up and get a title match and win the title for no reason. And again, that's not me digging on Charlotte. It's just on the way that they strangely book her. It's an unfortunate thing. I've said it plenty of times before, but she's a great talent. She just and people moaning about it isn't. Sometimes people kind of get caught up in it and act like it's because she's not good. She is good. She's just booked in a strange way, just like Roman Reigns was before as well. But yeah, Cody getting booked like that, I don't see it. I think it would make sense for anyone to be put in this position where they come back and they earn the right, or that right was there before they went away, and they've kind of had to extend that. And you could argue that Cody's body of work meant he'd be in that top frame, but he hadn't officially become number one contender, is what I'm saying. So for me, Cody coming back and winning isn't the same as The Rock coming back and winning. I think it makes storyline sense for Cody coming back and winning, whereas The Rock, look, I'm defeating my own point here. It could come back and just have a title match. Like I'm saying, Charlotte shouldn't and other wrestlers shouldn't. But the storyline should be that The Rock comes back, challenges, and I guess, and Cody, and Roman's annoyed about it, and Roman wants to prove himself, head of the table, and all this kind of stuff. So I guess I am kind of being hypocritical there, but it just look, it's a bigger story. It makes sense if Roman was annoyed, whereas the whole kind of Ronda Rousey going, yeah, I just had a match, I'll have another one against someone I don't like, is not as strong as Roman saying, you beat me up at the Rumble. It's a few weeks later. I'm really annoyed about that. And in order to get my hands on you and prove that I am the tribal chief, because I know you've been running your mouth since then or something like that, I'm willing to put a title online, but just one of them or something like that to get around the Cody Rhodes thing. Or because again, I talked earlier on about it's annoying that someone winning Rumble goes on and they didn't need it, and that the other side, we could have done the other side. There is no other side at the moment. It's Roman Reigns. He is the only side to kind of to be offering up a title defense here. So yeah, it's a strange time. It's a different year. It's a different way to do things. John says, I just think they still don't want this Roman title reign to end till at least SummerSlam. See, yeah, that was something that I think Barry mentioned yesterday actually on one of our streams, that could Roman still be champ come Money in the Bank? And I said, no, I don't think he will be, because I think if he's not losing both of them, he's losing at least one at WrestleMania. He has to. It's all well and good doing a long reign, and I think it's been fantastic. And there's been times where it dipped, and it was like, oh, it's getting a bit stale now. Come on, we need to shake it up. And they keep bringing it back around. They've been lucky with the Sami Zayn stuff. We haven't even talked about that. You know, the big rumor, of course, that Sami Zayn could get the title shot at Elimination Chamber. Sami Zayn winning the Rumble would be a massive moment, but I think they don't want to do that at WrestleMania because of the other. It's a great place to be in. You've either got potential to do Rock Roman, Cody Roman, Sammy Roman, or two of those things in the same night, and one of them at another date. There are so many possibilities here for WWE that even if they had one of those things at WrestleMania, they'd be lucky. You know, if they had Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, that would be huge, right? The best case scenario is that they have Sami Zayn versus Roman at Chamber. They get to do it. And then they get to do Cody on night 1 and Rock on night 2. That's the best case scenario for them to do. Or you could argue that maybe Sammy faces Roman at SummerSlam. That's another way to really explode this feud and stretch the title run if you wanted to. But I personally think the best way to go about it is Sammy to nearly win it at the Chamber. Doesn't quite do it. That builds up this fuel and this heat and stuff like that. Because, you know, Rock would play into Sammy as well. Rock will come back and say, my buddy Sammy called me, or something like that. You know, he'll want to get some of that rub and give some of the rub, as well onto Sammy. So, and I think he played it really well comedically. So that would be cool. But yeah, I would like to see Sammy challenge Roman at the Chamber, lose it. Then at WrestleMania, Cody night 1, Rock night 2. You could even do, because if you've lost the title on night 1, how do you go into night 2 as the big bad Roman Reigns? The only way to really do it, annoyingly, is if Sammy or Rock gets involved in night 1, which brings down Cody's thing a little bit. Not as much of a shine on him there, but hey, needs must, isn't it? You know, and then night 2, does the Rock win the title? That's a whole nother thing, isn't it? You know, no, for me, actually, thinking about that. So maybe that should be night 1. Hey, it's a confusing thing. And then my point was going to be that I think Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens going after the Usos at WrestleMania would be the next best thing for Sami, and I think that'd be fantastic. Few more comments here from John. Thank you very much, John, by the way, for dropping your comments. Barry as well, and anyone else watching live or on demand. Give us your comments. Let us know what you think about what's going on with this whole kind of Royal Rumble picture. And I mean, literally a picture that we're talking about here. And the future of WWE. The amount of big names for many is crazy. Could be the biggest ever. Rock, Cena, Austin, maybe. Yeah, rumors again, weren't there a few months ago about Austin? Always rumors about Cena. Is it Austin Theory? Or is it Logan Paul? I personally would understand the Logan Paul thing, but I would prefer to see Austin Theory. Here we got, do you think there's anything in the Solo and the Rock as a duo? Oh, I haven't really heard this, to be fair, John. So no, I haven't. Because I know that, are you getting that from the kind of bits where Solo was always off to the side in those things where it looked like the Usos were finally embracing Sammy. There was always those shots of Solo looking a bit shady and not quite getting it in the background, weren't there? So is it that? But then again, that's more of a heelish thing because Sammy's the babyface, if any, in that group. So interesting either way. But yeah, just wanted to come on really and talk about this poster because I find it quite interesting. And not only is it a great poster, as I said earlier on, it is newsworthy for a number of reasons. Seeing Cody Rhodes there, as exciting as it is that I've come on air to be able to talk about a Cody Rhodes return, ultimately I want him back either way. It's frustrating that it doesn't look like it's going to be a surprise. Now, this could have been made a lot further back than I realized, and they just added Seth in and they're going to take him out and go, whoops, that shouldn't have got out there, BT slap on the wrist sort of thing. But I'm not too sure. And then they end up making it a surprise, or they've decided now to make it a surprise, but I'm not too sure. And then on top of that, we got the electrification. And that just seems to be pointing towards it. But at the same time, we were with The Rock's 25th anniversary. Do you remember that? And they promoted it like crazy. And guess what happened, guys? Rock didn't show up. It was so annoying. Oh, it was so annoying. So they've done, they've got previous, don't get me wrong, but I just feel like it would be wrong. It's a different regime. It's a different time for now. It feels at least. Yeah, so yeah, who knows with that. Just before we get out of here, one more comment here as well from John. Anyway, at least this Rumble is unpredictable. I'll give you that, mate. I'll give you that. Even though, like you say, we kind of are predicting that 2 people are coming back, we still, because of that and the height and the magnitude of those returns, it still means we don't know who would win. You'd think it'd be one of those 2, though. But then there's still a possibility that it isn't. So the closer we get to the Rumble, guys, we will be back. I mentioned earlier on making that graphic for our preview and predictions podcast. We'll be back doing that. Hopefully all 4 of us as well, so that'd be cool. And we'll predict the Rumble and go for it match per match, and we'll really dig into the Rumble itself, talking about surprise entrants and stuff like that. The big ones that have kind of consequences going forward, such as Cody Rhodes and The Rock, and then the ones that are more fun, where you get random kind of one-nighter returns, which I always enjoy as well, and they're always quite fun to kind of predict. So yeah, that will be interesting to do. We'll be doing that on this channel very soon. We really do appreciate everyone that watches live or on demand for any of our streams, and also our other content, of course, on this channel. We've got interviews with the likes of WWE superstars such as Damian Priest. We had a great chat a little while ago with Bianca Belair as well. We had a great chat with Imperium, and again, a video that's doing quite well on this channel right at the moment is our interview with Rhea Ripley. So if you're into wrestling, which I'm sure you are because you're watching this video and you're on this channel, then please subscribe and you get content like that where we chat to WWE superstars. We also cover AEW, recently covered New Japan Pro Wrestling as well, of course, where we talked about our instant reaction and opinion to the return to pro wrestling of the former Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné now. And as well, we went in depth on the future of the global business for WWE when it comes to the fact that they're coming here to London, England in July, which is going to be fantastic. And of course, we'll have a lot of coverage for that, just like we did for Clash at the Castle when it comes to Money in the Bank 2023. And again, recently, the huge news that broke last night, guys, Vince McMahon returning to WWE and possibly trying to sell it is the big kind of thing going around at the moment as well. But we've been talking Cody Rhodes, we've been talking Rock, and we've been talking Royal Rumble. Once again, really appreciate anyone that's been joining us on this stream, whether live or on demand. We do hope you subscribe for more because, again, there's a lot more wrestling content coming soon. We've got a preview and prediction show for the Royal Rumble, but we've also got a build-up show. If you're new here, you won't know this, but on the night of a PLE, we get yourself and ourselves hyped up for the event by basically running down the card and any kind of changes and news updates since our original preview and prediction that I mentioned earlier on. So the build-up shows are really fun. And of course, we love to come back and talk about the shows themselves as well with either instant reaction or a recap and review. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you get both, guys. Anyway, I've been Scott. Really do appreciate everyone that's come along for the ride on this one. And again, apologies for the start of this when there was no audio whatsoever for about 30 seconds. If you're joining us late, don't worry. Go back and just watch it. It'll be fine because we've had a nice, great little discussion here with the comments coming through as well. Anyway, once again, I've been Scott. It's been a Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel, and we'll see you for the next one.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year. as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.